The Jury Daily Show is brought to you, as always, by PayJuryDaily.com. Oh, France. Can you believe it is August already? It is August already. We're done with July. I feel like it was 5 seconds ago that it was July 4th. It's August 1st already. We are chugging our way through this year. 2018 is just a fucking gnat fart so far. That's literally the only thing I have to say about it. Is just who knows? Who knows how fast this year's gonna go? Tomorrow it could be Christmas. As far as I know, it could. I'm gonna pass out, and it's going to just be all over. Thank you for joining me on this edition of the program. Again, my name is Justin Robert Young. This is the JuRY Show. I want to get into this list that I saw yesterday. The Ringer. The Ringer's a website. I like it. It's sports and culture. I like a lot of the folks that work there. They did the 100 best TV episodes of the century. So, all right. So this is not including anything that happened in the 90s. This is just 100 best TV episodes from 2000 on. So anything past Y2K is in play. We have 18 years worth of television that we are going off of. Now, I have to say that I love a list. I love a list because, you know, it's something to argue about, something to talk about. There's a lot of interesting stuff here. They have a Walking Dead episode at number 100. They've got a lot of some newer stuff. Some, I think a lot of people, here's a Price is Right episode that they have at number 94. Doctor Who's probably the best Doctor Who episode. Blink makes the top 100, which I think is certainly fine. It's fairly heavy with premieres and finales. But I want to talk about the top 5 here. Well, no, there's a couple things I want to talk about. Number one, a lot of people got upset with the fact that there were quite a bit of reality shows involved, including Keeping the Kardashians and The Hills and Laguna Beach and stuff like that. The Jersey Shore first episode makes an appearance here. But let's go ahead down to our top 10. Let's do our top 10. Number 11 is a Grey's Anatomy episode. Don't give a fuck. Number 10, Breaking Bad, Ozymandias. This is one of the best Breaking Bad episodes. If you got to pick one Breaking Bad episode, Ozymandias is probably among the... I mean, like, no one's going to bitch about it. In fact, really, I clicked on this list saying, if the fucking Fly episode from this show is on here, I'm done with the list. Because I don't like the Fly episode. I don't give a fuck if it was directed by Rian Johnson. People are shitting on Rian Johnson now. I was shitting on him for that Fly episode. I don't like the Fly episode. So Ozymandias is here. Rian Johnson directed that too. Good for him. Number 9, The OC. I was never an OC guy. Waffleovagus says that part of the methodology was that every show only got one episode, so you didn't fill it up with all of them. So effectively, you are saying that these are the best shows, the 100 best shows of the century, and now we are ranking the best of the best. So really, the quibbling that you can do with this list is, number one, where they rank, of course, but number two, what the selection, what people picked as the best episode, how they picked their champion. I was never an OC guy. That's fine. Number 8, The Sopranos. The Sopranos, Pine Barrens. This is probably the best Sopranos episode. I think it was also an interesting idea that a lot of the shows that their best episodes are considered bottle episodes, what are referred to bottle episodes. Basically, little self-contained stories that happened within the larger narrative. But it wasn't like, oh my God, he's finally going to find out that blank's a blank. It's like, no, these are little episodes in here. Pine Barrens is one of the best. That's the one where the crazy Russian gets lost in the woods. Survivor episode, I was never a Survivor guy. That's number 7. The Wire, Middle Ground. This is the season 3 penultimate episode. I think there is one episode after this, but this is where a very important character dies. Among, I don't know if you'd be able to go with another episode of The Wire that is more impactful. I think there might be better episodes of The Wire, but this, as a Wire fan, I was excited that it ranks number 6 and that this was the episode selected. Number 5. All right. This is where I got to give this list a million pounds of respect. They made the first Chappelle show that featured the Rick James stories. This is the, what are the 5 fingers say to the face? Slap. Cold-blooded. Like that shit. That got number 5. Love that. I think that sketch comedy in general gets a short shrift. This was a cultural, impactful episode. I'm happy that was there. True Detective. I ain't never seen True Detective. That was number 4. They gave it to that one with the big tracking shot. Number 3, The Reigns of Castamere. This is the Red Wedding episode. I, as a book reader, bought the books. I was excited to see this episode. It over-delivered on what I thought. It was a cultural touchstone, the likes of which we hadn't really seen since the Sopranos, where everybody was talking about this thing. So that's fine. Number 3. Number 2, Mad Men: The Suitcase. Now, this is where we start to get a little particular. Because the final 2 episodes that they select not only reveal a lot about the Ringer staff, but also they are, how do I put this? Hipster white people. These are hipster white people shows. Mad Men is a hipster white people show. The Suitcase is one of their best episodes. It really is probably the biggest demonstration of Don Draper and Peggy's relationship, and thereby proxy John Hamm and Elizabeth Moss as actors. But, like, to put Mad Men over The Wire, I feel like is a cultural statement. And I know white hipster taste. I can sniff it out because I live that life. And I love Mad Men. And I love this episode. But I feel like you are, even if you don't think you're making a statement, you are making a statement if you put Mad Men over The Wire. But not as much of a statement as you are making when you make the number 1 show of the century, Lost. The Constant. Now, I got a conspiracy theory about this one, and I want to spit this one to you. I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are. I think that television critics are very desirous of Lost being reclaimed as a great show. I feel that television critics very much enjoy not only Lost, but also Damon Lindelof, really the person who's borne the biggest brunt of Lost's critical failure at the end. And they are desirous of making that something closer to how it was felt in the moment and not the fuck this show because the ending was botched so bad. I believe that television critics want two things to be true. Us to recognize that the ending betrayed some of the premise of the show, and equally, if not more so, that it's also one of the best shows of all time. And that is why we get The Constant at number 1, which even in the descriptor, they point out this was all the best of Lost without any of the worst of Lost. The Constant is the time, basically it's like a weird Slaughterhouse-5 kind of thing where Desmond, the man they find in the hatch, becomes unstuck in time, and it ends in a very Lostian way where you have no idea how he is talking to his girlfriend 20 years in the past, and yet indeed they are. It's science fiction, it's romance, it's a character study, it's tense, and it has no explanation, which is always where Lost operated at its best. When they were answering questions, they were never good. When they were creating questions, they were mwah, Italian chef kiss. Do you think that's bullshit? I'm cool with it. I love both those top 2 episodes. I feel like I'm down with it, but I feel like a lot of people aren't. If you got something to say about this, write to me, jurydaily@gmail.com. Put a comment in the go ahead and hit the comments below if you are watching us on youtube.com/Justin Robert Young. Go ahead and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that bell. We got some emails here for you. Number 1, Michael. Michael writes, so I was listening to podcast this morning and it got me thinking about how I consume my political news. I read the New York Times and then the PX3 newsletter afterward. By the way, freepoliticalnewsletter.com. Then listen to another Times podcast, which gets me kind of upset, so I follow it with Monday's PX3 Extra podcast to calm me down. It's my belief that I use your irreverent political approach in order to stomach the day's news. It is the same reason I use a small amount of mayonnaise on a sandwich to make it easier to eat. Michael, you have struck to the core of me, comparing me to mayonnaise, but I will take your compliment. Sean writes, spot on with the Queer Eye assessment in the cop episode. Why the heck would you be driving without your license on you? Also, the French tuck is super uncomfortable because of all the bunched fabric on the sides. Does Patrick Beja tuck his shirts in like this? That's a good question. I will defend driving without a license for a reality show. You are not dressing to really go out. Reality shows are not documentaries. They're not just like, dress how you want and we'll film you. It's a shoot. It's closer to a movie than it is a documentary. It's closer to Avengers than it is King of Kong, A Fistful of Quarters. So if you want your pants to look good and you don't want to have anything on you, you would hand all your stuff to a PA that's probably driving in front of you. And if you got stopped by a cop, the PA would come out and show your ID. Which is why that cop thing was obviously very contrived. Dav writes, you joke about having an 18-plus water park, but my place in Vancouver has a giant hill and a super rad park, and every summer we have a legal age slip and slide. You joke, but a no kids but with beer water park is rad as all get out. Oh, I believe it. I love going to a water park. Now, I have realized that I am too old for a fucking slip and slide because a slip and slide is really just falling down. But a good old-fashioned a flume, I'm about it. John in South Carolina writes, I had thought about your last show, and I bet I share it with at least 2 of your emailers. During the show, you led me to believe that if somebody's not a consumer of Breitbart, that they should ignore their problems, while a consumer of Breitbart should try and change it. Earlier in the show, you went on a very entertaining rant about how wrong mayo-flavored ice cream is, and how you are willing to pay somebody just to go buy some and throw it in the garbage. Shouldn't you just ignore it? Breitbart is a borderline propaganda machine for Trump. Almost everything they do has an amazingly sharp slant to it. Should they be allowed to continue? Sure, but at the same time, there's nothing wrong with people hating on them. The show is fun. I have enjoyed them. I would not try to change what you do. John, my point about the Breitbart thing, and really this was about like advertising brigades, is I do think that in the context of advertising brigades now, or at least how they began, it was, oh, I'm a reader of your thing, and I think that it's bad, and so I'm letting the advertisers know this is bad and I don't like it anymore. And I think that has evolved over time. So it's not necessarily that you should ignore it. No, you should hate on it. That's fine. I do always find it funny. We're getting into political stuff, but I always find it funny whenever people say like, oh, well, like Fox News and Breitbart are borderline propaganda machines for Trump, right? As if MSNBC and Slate weren't borderline propaganda machines for Obama. Like, they have an opinion. This is confirmation bias. This is not new. These people have made businesses, brick and mortar, paying you healthcare businesses based on confirmation bias. That's just the way it is. Jeffrey from YouTube says, I want to defend Anthony from Queer Eye real quick. Apparently he teaches them multiple recipes, and a lot of these people have never actually seen how to cut an avocado before. I understand. Although I doubt that he teaches them a lot of recipes. Queer Eye's not a fucking charity. It's a television show. If they're doing it, they're filming it. And if they're filming it, maybe they have extras. Maybe it's for the DVD. Maybe it's for something else. But they're showing what they film. Gibson from YouTube wrote, that email about butter, somebody eats butter right off the stick, genuinely made my stomach hurt. But you want to know what, folks? It is Wednesday. Yes. Which means it is time for High Thoughts. If you think about it, scheduling a meeting is really just selecting a point in 4D space. Do you think it's 1 to 3 because 1, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Sometimes I wish I was a manatee, because I want to be a gentle giant of the sea that just gets along with all the sea life. When the tide goes out, does the shore miss it? Maybe Putin makes Trump watch the pee-pee tape when they're together. That's why no one else is allowed in the room. If Trump looks away, Putin pees on him, 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 on. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to be a part of High Thoughts, go ahead and email jurydaily@gmail.com. Put High Thoughts in the subject line. That about wraps it up for this edition of the show. Again, you can email me, jurydaily@gmail.com, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, @JustinRYoung. If you are in Indianapolis or you're going to Gen Con this weekend, I'm going to be at the Indianapolis Escape Room. That is Escape Room Indy. You can go to escaperoomindy.com to look up the address. This is not a Gen Con event. So if you just live in Indy, you can just come out and say hi and hang out and demo the games and have a good time. Till tomorrow, though. My name is Justin Robert Young. Please, don't.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Gosh dang it. I didn't fucking record that episode. 2 seconds, guys. I'm going to stop the stream so I can have an easier download.